Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. We saw many things yesterday in the Bhagavad Gita class, and we saw how, most recently, we saw how the people who understand and invoke Bhagavan do so after many false starts, trips. Everybody has a trip, but this is a whole lifetime of trip, pun intended. And so many difficulties. Finally, Bhagavan is understood as, in two respects, one as the altar of surrender. As the altar of surrender for spiritual growth, and also as one whose nature is non-separate from the one who is invoking that Bhagavan. So from both these standpoints of Tatastha Lakshana, means invoked as the cause of the universe, and Swarupa Lakshana, invoked as that which is essentially free of name, of form, of attributes. And if it's essentially free of all of that, then what is it? It is just sentient consciousness. And what is that consciousness? Me. So, bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. How prapadyate? How do they invoke me? Vasudevaha sarvam iti. We left on the note of Ishvarizing the universe. Ishvarize is a very important word. Just because it hasn't made it into the English dictionary doesn't mean it's not a word. It is a word. Ishvarize. Or if you don't like that, Ishvarification. Immediately you know what it means. It's very easy. So Ishvarize. When in doubt, Ishvarize. And this is very nice, because what you can do is you can just say all this is Vasudeva. Vasudeva means the one who indwells the entire universe of names, forms. That one indivisible indweller, Vasudeva. And this is how to understand Bhagavan. Bhagavan, as I said, is not an entity sitting somewhere, heaven and what else, Why various types of heaven we have. Vaikuntha, Vishnu's heaven, Shiva not allowed. Then, what is the name of Shiva's heaven? Kailasa. Vishnu not allowed. They have posted a thing there, Vishnu in a circle and one slash around it. Not allowed. So like this, we have many kinds of heavens. And those are just there to prepare the mind, to take the person along a little bit wherever they are. That's not the ultimate truth of oneself or of Ishvara. It cannot be. And so, what needs to be done here is to see Ishvara as each and everything. So, whatever I see is Ishvara, whatever I hear is Ishvara. Not only that, the faculty of hearing, Ishvara. Object of hearing, Ishvara. What about me, the hearer? Ishvara. Everything is Ishvara. What I love, Ishvara. What I do not like, double Ishvara. Yes, double helping of Ishvara. All the pleasant things in my life, Ishvara. Unpleasant things, Ishvara. This is what is Ishvarization, Ishvarification. And when this is done fully, then the one is, not lacking in anything. Totally one with Ishvara means totally one with what Ishvara represents, this knowledge of oneself as non-separate from that. But then Lord Krishna acknowledges in the next 6 verses that this is not possible for everybody, because he has already made the setup, Bahunam Janmanam Ante. So at the end of many, many janmas, this is possible. So this has already been established. And so people are not able to go there. So what do? They take baby steps towards Ishvara. And what is this Ishvara? What is this baby step towards Ishvara? Baby step towards Ishvara means that somehow I use Ishvara as an end as a means to get whatever end I have in mind. Similar to Artha Bhakti, we saw Artharthi Bhakti. Similar. Same thing actually. So we saw that. But here it's not Artha and Artharthi. It is more of a how this Ishvara is invoked. As I told you, we have a very sophisticated understanding of Ishvara. Adhyatma, centered on me. What is that? Ishvara. Centered on the forces, Ishvara. And the law that connects the inside with the outside, Ishvara. Everything is Ishvara. And we saw that through the simple analysis of the breath. That which is the air, Vayu. What is Vayu? Ishvara. Any question I ask, answer is Ishvara. Vayu is Ishvara. Take a deep breath, no need to hold it. Just take a deep breath. Ishvara. And then that Vayu suddenly became what? My prana. That Vayu became this prana, my prana. I have made Ishvara my own. Then exhale all the toxins back to Vayu again. Ishvara. And the law that allows this miraculous regeneration happening with each breath, that is also what? Ishvara. We saw this. And so therefore, this is so subtle, and most people are at that immediate level. What is that immediate level? Prana. In this example, it is prana, because that's where I feel it. Prana is Ishvara, and if there are any pranic disturbances, then we have the possibility of invoking Ishvara right then and there as Adhisthana Devata of prana. Adhisthana Devata. Adhisthana means the presiding deity of various forms and functions within the universe and even within this human body-mind complex. So many Adhisthana Devatas, so little time. Devata means, form Ishvara invoked from, if everything is Ishvara, I have the ability to invoke Ishvara through various forms and functions. So Ishvara invoked as a functionary. And all this comes in what is called the Laghunyasa of what is that called? Sri Rudram, before we chant. We have something called Laghunyasa. Vayur me prane shritaha. And so all the Adhisthana Devatas. The Adhisthana Devata, the presiding deity of prana is Vayu, and the presiding deity of the feet is the all-pervasive Vishnu. The presiding deity of the organs of reproduction, Lord Brahmaji. The presiding deity of the ears, directions, Dik Devata. Presiding deity of the eyes, because the eyes light up everything, Surya. Presiding deity of speech, fire, Agni Devata. Agnir me vachishritaha. So like this, people can, this is done so that people can start somewhere. Because I'm most in tune with my own body, with my own mind, with my own senses. I could care less about Ishvara as Vasudeva, too big a concept to even understand. I may not be able to Ishvarize the whole universe. I start by trying to Ishvarize one little aspect or function in my own body, my mind, my senses. So I just start by saying, this is Ishvara. Prano vai Ishvaraha. So prana is Ishvara. So then when prana is invoked as Ishvara, it is Ishvara, all right, but it's looking at something through you make a little pinhole, and then you look at the world through the pinhole, and you look at an object through the pinhole. It's a small little aperture. So, and then here in English, when you look at some of these translations, they're a little scary. Personal God, impersonal God, finite God, infinite God. Don't look at the translation, okay? Now do me a favor and don't look at the translation. And then and when they don't know what else to say, they say Godhead. That which doesn't have a head is God, okay? Yeah. That we have to understand. God being everything cannot have a head. So therefore this is all muddled up in the mind because we have looked at such translations. They are unavoidable, they are all over the place. They assail the understanding and make it difficult to comprehend what is going to come from verse 20 to 25, these 6 verses. And what is being told here is that people not accustomed to understanding what Ishvara is as Vasudeva, as the truth, as the cause of the entire universe, they cannot comprehend, and they don't have the mental space, the emotional capacity, the growth to comprehend that. So they end up matching their version of Ishvara with whatever they want. And so if they want money, Ishvara becomes what? Giver of money. If they want health, Ishvara becomes Dhanvantari. If they want something, better eyesight, Ishvara becomes Surya Bhagavan. Surya Bhagavan is Ishvara. Dhanvantari is Ishvara. And what else, all this is Ishvara, but Ishvara is not Surya Bhagavan. This is what we have to understand. Ishvara is not just the sun, or that which the divinity associated with the sun. If Ishvara is just that, then what would be the moon? What would be Mars? And what would be our favorite one? Shani. Saturn. So therefore, these forms and functionaries become like small little angelic figures, little blessing figures, which dole out a few blessings when invoked. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Okay, tathastu, tathastu, tathastu. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Tathastu, tathastu, tathastu. And most people are okay with that because they can't think about anything else. They cannot visualize, they cannot imagine anything greater because the mental capacity is less. Why is the mental capacity less? Oh no, is Lord Krishna making judgments about people's mental capacity? No, mental capacity is fine, but we saw how it is overrun by wants, raga and dvesha. Strong wants become the thicket, because of which I cannot see my way around. Everything is dark, everything is overrun, and everything is so crowded. That forest of raga dvesha needs to be pruned. Clip, 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 clip. And until that is done, the mental capacity, one will always be in an overwhelm mode. Can't handle it, too much, too much, too much, too much, too much. It is too much because one is overrun with wants, so many wants. And so therefore, verses 20 to 25, they have a very specific topic, and that topic is sakama bhakti, the invocation of Ishvara for along with all the wants in the universe is called sakama bhakti, kamaihi saha vartate iti. So that which is the bhakti that is alongside kama. Now is this wrong or right? Dead silence. Is it wrong or is it right? It is right. Yes, you are right that it is right. It is right. Why is it right? Because every bhakta is exalted. We saw that. Udara sarva evate. Nothing wrong in making Ishvara into a cow that gives milk. Milk Ishvara for this, that or the other, no problem. Using prayer, using this, using that. However, Lord Krishna would like us to know that that's not the ultimate understanding of Ishvara. There is a better, higher and more exalted vantage point. Why is it better? Why is it higher? And why is it more exalted? Because these small milking sessions will leave you still hungry, thirsty. Because any fulfillment of the desire we saw comes with doshas. It is anitya, it is atriptikara, it does not cause contentment. And then what else? It is dukkha mishrita, it is already, it takes a lot of effort, so it is mixed. Every happiness is filled with sorrow, and finally it has bandhakatvam, means it is addictive. Once I get it, it's never enough. How much money is enough? Oh, what a difficult question. I have to retire, and then I want some money for my children. Then I want some money for my... Where are the children? Oh, they're not born yet. Okay, just checking. All right, so then, then I want money for children's children. Are the children's children born? Absolutely not. When the children themselves are not in the picture, where are the children's children? And then I want some money for the children's trust fund, and then this fund and that fund. And then what? It's endless. Dogs are better than us. At the most, one bone it will bury for itself to have enjoy at a later time. Poor thing, most of the time it forgets where it buries. It doesn't put a little banner saying bone here. It does not say 5 bones for me and then 10 bones for my puppies and for their puppies and for the puppies, 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 puppies. For 7 generations it doesn't think. They are better off. Even better are the birds. Oh, babies are coming, eggs are coming. Okay, let's build a nest. Nice condo, multi-story condo they built. Some of the nests have stories. And they have a very soft bedroom. The whole bedroom is lined with soft feathers, soft things they pick up from the Jagat. Babies come, babies are fed. Then what happens? Babies fly away. And then, oh, the first snowflake has come. Time to migrate south. They all fly to Chennai from here. Really. In Coimbatore, there is a bird right next to our ashram. There is a bird, what is that called? Bird sanctuary. Not sanctuary, it's a bird watching place, bird research center. Where there are tours where people go bird watching, binoculars in hand. All the birds that have come from America, they go to see. They couldn't go to America, so they at least see the birds from America. And they go all the way to Chennai. And what did they do to this lovely bird condo? Did they put it on for rent? On Craig's list? Double-story, fur-lined condo, tree view. I'm looking for exchange accommodations. People from South India, please apply. Birds from South India, please apply. We'll have an exchange. You come here and you stay in my condo and I will stay in your nest. No. When they come back to the look, who did this? What happened? There are squatters. Shoo. No. When the time comes to lay the eggs again, what do? They build another one. They are better off than us. But it is how it is. They are programmed, we are not. They have no hope at all whatsoever to have these conversations that we are having. They have no hope to overcome samsara. They have no hope to look into the nuances of this bhakti. Bhakti means relationship to Bhagavan. And so therefore in this way we are better off. We have free will, and that is what Lord Krishna is asking us to do now, is to understand this free will and where it is being used up. Here in verses 20 to 25, it is being used up in small, finite invocations for finite ends. What does Bhagavan do when only the little piece of the nail of the left finger is invoked? When that nail becomes a source of blessing. That's just a small sliver of blessings. That's all will come. Because that's what you asked for. And the bhakta thinks, yes, I nailed it. But it's just a short thing, small thing. Chota things. Small things. This is called sakama bhakti. And verses 27 to 30, which closes this chapter, is on the topic of nishkama bhakti. What is nishkama bhakti? A bhakti which has only Bhagavan as the end. Mumukshu jignasu bhakti. It does not have any other end. So the two are contrasted in the coming verses, so we have an idea of what each thing looks like and what is the collateral in each thing. What do we invest? What do we get? And is that enough? No, because after getting this, what do? We want more of the same. And so Bhagavan also has some 4-letter words for these people who are doing sakama bhakti. He's not very complimentary of them. Let us see. 20th verse. Kamaistairhritagnyanaha Kamaistairhritagnyanaha Prapadyantenyadevataha Tam Tam niyamamasthaya Prakritya niyata svaya. Taihi kamaihi. Taihi kamaihi. Kamaihi means by the force of all kinds of runaway desires. Oh, but those are good. That means they run away. No. They are like a train wreck. They run away and they take, it's like a runaway truck. Cannot be stopped. They take you with them. Taihi kamaihi. This is the Indian way of talking. By those desires. That's how we learnt it. We may not know Sanskrit, but our English is influenced by Sanskrit. That's why we say slowly, shanaihi, slowly. That repetition is there. So the same thing here, these weeps are repetitive. By those desires means those respective desires, kamaihi, by those desires, what do they do? Apahrita jnanaha. Hritagnyanaha. Hritagnyanaha means, hrita means to rob, to take away. Hritagnyanaha, whose jnana here is not atmajnana. We have certain buzzwords. Jnana, immediately I think self-knowledge. No, sometimes it even means meditation. We have to look very carefully. Sometimes Vidya, Jnanam, etc. means meditation in the Upanishads. Thank God there is Adi Shankara, because without him, I don't know, we would flounder. And so he tells us where to look at it, how. Here Jnanaha means Vivekinaha. Vivekinaha. Those who have discrimination. And what happened to their discrimination? Apakritaha. Those whose discrimination has been robbed. Only 2 thieves. What are they? Raga, Dvesha. What else is there? Always these 2 thieves are there. Raga, Dvesha snuck into the head in the night and then slowly made off with this person's buddhi. So buddhi thief. Gone. Buddhi means the faculty of reasoning, intellect. Gone. So these are the people whose discriminative power has been robbed by the force of their wants. Raga and Dvesha, kamaihi, taitaihi, hritagnyanaha. Then what do they do as a result? Prapadyante, invoke, worship, invoke. What? Anya devataha. Anya devataha, it must not be it must not be understood as other than Krishna. No. That's not what is being talked about. Or even other than Bhagavan. What else is there other than Bhagavan? Nothing is there. So kamaihi taihi kamaihi hritagnyanaha, those whose discriminative intellect has been robbed by the force of their wants and don't wants, by their preferences and prejudices, strong as they are. And then such people, what happens? Prapadyante. They invoke. Who do they invoke? Anya devataha. Meaning, they do not go for Vasudeva. They do not go for, they are not fans of Ishwarization. They don't know first thing about Ishwarification. They don't know how to do that, and besides they don't want to do that because it means accepting the difficult along with the pleasant. That is what Ishwarization is. They are not ready for that. They still think they can manufacture the objects of raga, dvesha, me, I am karta, I am the doer, I can do this, I got this is in the bag. This is how they think, this is how they talk. So prapadyante, so they figure out how to have an appropriate altar, not an altar of surrender. An altar of surrender alone has the power to alter you. That is why it is called altar. This, what they are invoking, is not an altar of surrender. It is a presiding deity of a set of wants, a set of symptoms. A local deity. Local means, like if something is wrong with the prana, a pranic deity. And that the Shastra is rife with all this. In fact, if we just read a basic text like Tattva Bodha, it will tell what is the Adhisthana Devata, what is the presiding deity of which organ. So anything wrong with that organ, then elbow broken, elbow Devata. Elbow Devata Yai Namaha. This is how the Arjuna go. This is how the worship goes. Something wrong with the nose? Nose Devata Yai Namaha. And then something wrong with the ears, that's what it is. Go on and on. So only locally what I want to invoke, and you can have many devatas like this, and new is coming, new things. In Telangana there is one Visa Ganapati, new, in the last 10 years. All the people wanting to go to America, go there first. Go to Visa Ganapati temple. It's becoming really rich. It's giving Balaji a run for their money. Visa Ganesh. Tell me, what is the connection between getting visa and Visa Ganapati? No, not any other Ganapati. Visa Ganapati. And then in Karnataka, there is when the AIDS, during the height of the AIDS epidemic, there is one, I don't know whether it's still there, on a small hillock, somebody started one temple, AIDS Amma. AIDS Amma. Just like Mari Amma. During this smallpox epidemic, you have Mari Amman, and then here you have AIDS Amman. You can have numerous things like this. This is just a issue-based, so you invoke Ishvara based on a small issue which is irking you, which is a thorn on the side. So, prapadyante anya devataha. The anya devatas, are they included in Bhagavan or not? Yes. But they are not Bhagavan, in the sense of how we need to discover Bhagavan as an altar of surrender in order to be totally transformed through this bhakti. So here it's just a issue-based invocation. So what does Ishvara do? Ishvara says, I'm not going to give you what you want. Why did you just invoke a little part of me? Does Ishvara say that? No. Tam Tam, for such people, for those people who have these desires and who keep invoking me in small ways. Namaste to the one who is in charge of elbows. Namaste to the one who is in charge of broken feet. Namaste to the one who is presiding as the deity of the mind. All that is allowed. It's beautiful. But don't get stuck there. That is the idea. There is an addictive nature to this, and that's what has to be understood. It will not cause chuti, meaning it will not cause you to get derailed from the spiritual progress, invoking in this manner. But it will not cause any spiritual progress either, alas. You are in a holding pattern, treading water in one place and thinking you're swimming. Thinking you have gone very far. You haven't gone anywhere. You are where? Right there. So, Tam Tam niyamam asthaya. Tam Tam niyamam asthaya prakritya niyataha swaya. So, swaya prakritya niyata. So, these particular desires are driven by their own dispositions and by their own helplessness. We have to add that. They according to their own dispositions. Niyamam means whatever they are doing, however they are invoking. Different forms of worship, different ways of invoking. So they are driven by their peculiar and particular and specific desires, and which are in turn driven by their own, dispositions and whatever they want. And then they worship other deities according to the niyama. What is that? Anushtana. Whatever they needs to do, they do. Because they are driven by prakriti. What kind of a prakriti? A prakriti here, nature, swabhava, not swarupa. Swarupa unchanging, swabhava changing all the time. So they are driven by prakriti, meaning they are driven by their inbuilt dispositions to keep on searching for this and that. So what? What will Bhagavan do to such people? The next verse says, Yo yo yam yam tanum bhaktaha shraddhayarchitum ichhati tasya chalam shraddham tameva vidadhamyaham. Yo-yo means yo-yo. Yeah. Y-O, up and down. That's how the bhakti goes. Okay? So, yo-yo, yam-yam, tanum, yo-yo bhaktaha. So, yam-yam goes with tanum and yo-yo goes with bhaktaha. Masculine and feminine. This is how to remember. Tanum means whatever form the worshipper is visualizing. I saw one comic where Bhagavan to the dog is in the form of a huge, larger-than-life bone. That is what it is visualizing, because that's what it wants. So like this, Bhagavan looks very differently depending on the specific wants. So the wants become a medium for this bhakti, and it's what kind of a bhakti? A bhakti based on raga and dvesha. Give me this, take this away. Give me this, take this away. So whoever has this kind of bhakti, and whatever the object of this bhakti is, yam tanum bhaktaha, so whoever looks at whatever form of mine, they are all my forms. Lord says, they are all my forms. They are not separate from me. But the person who is worshipping does not know that. That is what we have to understand. The worshipper doesn't know that, but they are all me. And so what do they do? Yo yam bhaktaha ichhati, desires. So whatever the bhakta desires what? Architum, to worship. How? Shraddhaya, with a lot of reverence, with a lot of bhakti, whoever desires to worship, Tasya tasya, for that person, see, this is how we talk, okay? Yeah, for that respective person with that desire, then achalam shraddham tameva vidhadami aham. So what do? I make that faith that they have extremely firm. I give them dridha, shraddha. I give them a shraddha that is very unshakable. I make their faith in elbow devata unshakable. I make their faith in nose devata unshakable. Totally unshakable. How do I do that? That is not said. How do I make the faith unshakable? By giving them whatever they want. Then only the faith becomes unshakable, is it not? If you worship and nothing comes, then you go to another form. Right? Elbow devata is not doing anything. Let me go to joint devata in particular perhaps. Arthritis Ishvara. So maybe I should go there. Maybe I should go here. So like this, if it is not fulfilled, then the person wants to look for some other form to connect to, because this is not doing anything. It's like a dry well. I tried to tap to get the water. It came up dry. And the bore well was a real bore because it didn't have water. So if you tap and water doesn't come, what do? You have to dig in another place. I don't want them to go away from me. Lord Krishna says, I don't want them to go away from me. With great difficulty, after so many births, they have had this shraddha in the elbow. Okay? And so I am not going to let them go away from me. So I give them lot of whatever they want, healing, money, whatever they want. I keep giving that to make their faith firmer and firmer and firmer, in the hope that once the faith is firm, they will see me in a larger and more inclusive way. So this is a very nice thing. So whoever prays in whatever form, whoever invokes, gets whatever they want. And the Lord says, I don't get offended. But I don't want them to leave either. Because with great difficulty they have come. They are pulling on a little part of me. And then I want them to know themselves as the whole of me. Not just through a small aspect, not just through a small little aperture. I want them to know me in my entirety, which is what? Nothing other than the truth of them. So I keep giving them treats, little bits of treats. Good dog, yes, keep coming. And then what happens? Then whatever object that is desired, that person gets, because the shraddha is now firmed up. This is what is going to be told in the next verse. Sataya shraddhaya yuktaha tasya radhanamihate labhate cha tatah kaman mayyeva vihitan hitan. So then, endowed with this shraddha, as a result of getting a few handouts, right? What did the bhakta do? Put his hand out to get a handout. Got a handout. He or she got a handout, and then it's like, what is that called? That experiment? The ringing of the bell? Pavlov, yes. That all they got from Bhagavan only. See? That Pavlov dog training. What did they do? They rang the bell, and then 2 minutes later food came. So the dog associated the ringing of the bell with what? The appearance of the food. So then even when there was no food, it started to drool. So replace dog with drooling bhakta. Okay? That's all. That's all. So visualize the drooling bhakta instead of the dog. And then what is the bell here? The reward. The reward is given, and so the shraddha is firmed up, and then that creates in the, not dog, bhakta, a repetitive behavior. And what is the repetitive behavior? I will keep on invoking Bhagavan because then I keep getting goodies. The goodies is associated with the invocation and the worship, and this is exactly what Bhagavan wants. Oh, Bhagavan wants me to keep wanting handouts? No. But if that's where the starting point is, Bhagavan is going to encourage that because Bhagavan has full faith, full conviction that this will lead you on a deeper journey to Bhagavan as the self, non-separate from the self. It will lead you to discover wider vistas. And this addiction to Bhagavan will replace other addictions. And then this addiction will go away. It will resolve in the truth, in being confronted with meeting the truth of your own glory, your own nature as Bhagavan. So Bhagavan encourages this bell ringing and drooling association by increasing the Shraddha. And so, Saha, that person, Taya Shraddhaya Yuktaha, endowed with that Shraddha. Which Shraddha? The Shraddha that Bhagavan only increased in the last mantra, in the last verse that we saw. Yuktaha Tasya means Devatayaha Aradhanam Ihate. Proceeds to engage in the worship of that deity. Devatayaha Aradhanam. Aradhanam means the invocation, worship of that deity. Ihate proceeds to do. Then what? Drooling starts. Labhate, gains. Labhachite cha tataha. Tataha means as a result. Labhate, gains from tataha means from that deity. Tasmat, from that deity. Tataha labhate. From that deity, not from deity, from Bhagavan only. But what does the person think? From that deity. Person thinks, I got it from this devata, that devata. And that's why they say, your God is not very good. My God can do this. What did your God do? So, I got this from my God. Oh my God, that's all. That's all there is to say. I got this from my God, you got this from your God. And this is where all needless fights start at this level alone. So, labhate cha tataha. Tataha means tasmat. From that deity, labhate kaman means bhogan, various results of kama. Not kama, it doesn't gain the desires, but results of desires, objects of desires. And then, what is this? Where did they get it from? They thought they got it from the deity they invoked, but in reality, maya eva vihitan hitan. They got it from that deity, but I was the one who ordered it. They got it through that deity. The water came through the tap, but it was already ordained. How was it ordained? That this river water will go there and it will be purified and chlorinated, and then it will get into the tap. When the water from the tap is used, nobody associates it with the river. You just think, I'm opening the tap tap water is coming. This is how the bhakta, what is that? The baby bhakta, baby step bhakta, the baby bhakta also thinks like that. Open the tap, Bhagavan's kripa is flowing. The water of Bhagavan's, what is kripa in English? Compassion is flowing. That's what they mistakenly think, but I am behind that. I let them think that. Why? Because I want them to have a dridha bhakti. I want to make that faith very, very strong. And then I want them to see me everywhere, in everything. And that is a journey, a process. And I will wait for their progress. I will not rush them through this. See, so patient, so much compassion. Anybody else, any other person would have gone and hit their head against the wall. Or hit the bhakta's head against the wall. What's wrong with you? Can't you see? Why can't you just see the whole world as Ishvara? No. Bhagavan doesn't hit his head against the wall. Bhagavan doesn't rock back and forth out of desperation. Bhagavan doesn't do anything. Bhagavan allows the people to come in their own time, even after it is after 5,500 janmas, doesn't matter. That is their karmic trajectory. That is their growth. Further, continuing. The problem with this kind of an invocation is given in the next two verses. Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavatyalpamedhasam devan devayajo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi tesham phalam antavat tu, whereas indeed tesham phalam, the results they gain from this kind of micro bhakti. What else to call it? Yeah, micro bhakti. You know, there is on the internet, at least there was a few years back, all the rage of small cooking. This much vessel, okay, 2 teaspoons of oil, small pakodas frying, small spoon, tiny little tissue paper, and then you put 3-4 pakodas there. And then you cook everything like that. Small, tiny children's play cooker, but it works with a whistle and everything. 6 chickpeas, that's all. And then you make chole, a kind of a dish. All tiny. This bhakti is like that, micro bhakti. All this effort, the effort is the same. Because you still have to chop all the vegetables, you still have to do this, you have to go there. And in fact, it's harder. More ayasa is required. More exhaustion is the end. So what is the end they gain as a result? So if you do this micro cooking, and if you have 4 pakodas that need to be looked at under the microscope to first locate where they are. Is your hunger filled? Say no, so we can move on. No. Even after so much hard work, hunger is not filled. If you had made normal size pakodas, at least you would be satisfied for the next 2 hours. But even chutney they make in tiny things, little dipping sauces and chutneys and everything. It's really an art form. And so here, the results of this micro bhakti is pointed out. Antavat phalam. Antavat means, antavat is neuter. qualifying the word phalam, which is also neuter. Antavat tu, whereas indeed the fruits of this kind of a micro bhakti are what? Micro karma phala. You ask for a tiny, tiny thing, what do you get? Tiny, tiny thing. You go to Bhagavan and say, please give me this little bit of something. Bhagavan says tathastu, and you get this tiny thing. And so, antavat. Antavat means the results are all finite. They all come to an end. And then, for whom? Alpamedhasam. For these tiny-brained fellows. I am not saying it, Bhagavan is saying it. For whom the medha shakti means grahana shakti, the ability to grasp something, the ability to retain what has been grasped, that is part B of Medha Shakti, and part C is also there of Medha Shakti. What is part C of Medha Shakti? The ability to reproduce what has been grasped and retained. All three they don't have, or they have very little. Alpa Medha. Yes, yeah. For whom? These tiny-brained people. That's why micro bhakti, tiny brains, meaning not fully developed power of discrimination to understand what to invoke, how to invoke, what to ask for. All these poor things they don't know. And so these small, tiny brained ones, what happens for them? The fruits of this micro bhakti result in micro karma phala, tiny, tiny results. And then what happens? Devan, Devayajaha. Devayajaha means the worshippers of this deity, they are attracted to this particular deity alone. And upon their departure from this universe, meaning when the end comes, where do they go? To that particular Devata alone. To the world of that Devata. Meaning, that's all their spiritual vision is. That's all it is. So this is all it is. Whereas, the people who see me in my entirety, as Swarupa Lakshana, as Tatastha Lakshana, as the truth of themselves, gain me completely. Meaning what? There is no reason to come back. Coming back means, that means something is not totally fulfilled. If the reason for the birth is fulfilled, there is no reason to come back. So here, for the people who are worshipping micro devatas, for all these big, big wants, and which they have parsed into micro things, and then they get micro ends, which are themselves coming to an end. Everything is finite, and everything is, and so they go to those deities, because those deities are themselves the end for them. So even after the departure from this universe, they just gain those deities, and then they are obsessed with those deities. They come back worshipping again the finite, instead of understanding themselves as the infinite. Whereas for people who have me as Ishvara in their sights will always be one with me because of this knowledge. Further, avyaktam vyaktimapannam manyante mama buddhayah param bhavamajanantah mama vyayamanutamam. So in the last verse, that person was called Alpamedhaha. Alpamedhas, Alpamedhaha. Small-brained. And here, the same person or a similar person is called abuddhihi. No brain. Bhagavan is warming up, okay? Tiny brain, micro brain to zero brain. No brain. Abuddhaya. The one, buddhihi, na vidyate yasya. Clean vyutpatti. Who are these abuddhis? The abuddhis are the ones who think, oh, Bhagavan has come. No, Bhagavan gone. Does Bhagavan come and go? No. Apparently only the buddhi comes and goes. Bhagavan doesn't come and go. Avyaktam, aham. So they think I have demanifested. And then Vyaktim Apannam. So now I have gained manifestation as Krishna Avatara. Oh no, gone again. Oh no, born again. Oh no, gone again. Gone, born, gone. They drive themselves and everybody else in the universe totally, completely, fully crazy. Avyaktam Vyaktimanam Apannam. Mam. Me. Manyante, they think, they consider. Who? No brainers. Abuddhaya. Why? Param bhavam ajanantaha. They don't know my nature. They don't know param bhavam here, para prakritihi. Don't ask what is para prakriti. Okay? Look at yesterday's lecture. That will listen to that again. Para Prakriti in the form of Chaitanya Atma, in the form of consciousness. So they don't know that. That's why, because the question may come, why do they want this micro bhakti? Why do they want all these tiny forms of things asking, tiny forms of invocation, tiny phala, tiny, why? Tiny brains, tiny phala, tiny invocations, tiny bhakti. Why do they do that? Because they think of me as tiny. They ask for finite things because they think of me also as what? Finite. And then therefore what? Then they think of me as coming and going. Each time there is an avatara, I have come and then I have gone and they miss me and they cry. Why? No brain. That's why. So param bhavam ajanantaha. Without knowing my true nature, as what? Mama avyayam anuttamam. That I am unsurpassed, incomparable to anything else. As Satchit Ananda, I am incomparable to anything else. And my nature is what? Unchanging. This they don't know and they can't even bother to be find this out. And so as a result, what do? They are stuck in their small expressions, small bhakti. Why? Small brains. No brain. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadagya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.